How's everybody doing today? This is going to be a film review of the movie called A Serbian Film. Now first off, let me preface this by saying this is a very graphic and violent movie, and if you don't want to hear about the graphic and violent nature of this film and me talking about the scenes that are simulated in this film, then please do not listen to this review, because I am going to include some of the more graphic and violent scenes in here. And I'm not going to give away the ending, which is very, indeed, surprising and shocking. But again, I will be talking about the more explicit scenes. So if you're not into that, then definitely don't listen to this. I do not condone any of the acts in this film. Obviously, it's just the movie, and I've seen several crazy, violent movies before. But this one has a certain scene in it that caught me off guard. And to be completely honest, if I had known about this scene, or heard about this scene, I probably wouldn't have watched the movie, to be completely honest. Now, I'd watched this movie just out of curiosity's sake. I had heard so much about it, so much buzz and hype, saying it was the most shocking ending to a movie ever, one of the most shocking movies ever of all time, and so I had to see it. I was like, you know what, gotta see it. And I checked it out, and I will say it definitely lives up to the billing. Definitely lives up to all the hype. This is a very sick and twisted kind of movie, so if you're not into those types of movies, definitely do not watch it. And as I said before, if I had known about that one particular scene, I probably wouldn't have even watched the movie. I've heard a bunch of people compare this to The Human Centipede and the fact that it's so shocking. And to those people I say, you've got to be freaking kidding me. The Human Centipede was like a Disney movie compared to this. The movie is directed by Srđan Spasojevic. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that. It's a Serbian name, and I don't know really how to properly pronounce that, so forgive me on that. And again, the film is called A Serbian Film, and it's one of the more hyped up films I've heard of in a long time, and rightfully so. It crosses a border that just has never even been, in my opinion, even thought of before. Right from the beginning of this film, you know it's going to be a crazy kind of film. It starts off with a pornographic scene where a guy and a girl are basically getting it on, and then, you know, you think you're watching just that scene, but then it zooms out and you see it's a TV, and it's being watched by a little kid. The little kid's watching a porno, and then you see two parents come in, and you find out that the person that the little kid was watching was actually his father, Milos. Milos is the lead character of the movie, and he plays a kind of down-and-out porn star. In his heyday, he was very well known, and now he can't really get a great job doing his work anymore. And he's approached by a former co-worker, and the co-worker offers him a chance to basically provide for his wife and son for the rest of their lives, essentially. And he has to meet with this director to do this film, and it's very top secret and hush-hush. And Milos's brother is introduced in this beginning part as well, and Milos's brother is a detective, and that plays out throughout the movie as well. So Milos meets with the director, and the director basically offers this huge amount of money that is so hush-hush that it's not mentioned in the movie, but it's so outlandishly lavish that he just whispers it to the wife at one point, and, you know, the wife gets all excited. So the director has Milos sign the contract without even basically reading it, just looking at the price amount, you know, how much he'll get paid. And he wants to keep it very hush-hush, and he says, you know, he wants it to be natural, so he doesn't want to tell him what it's about. And he basically says, you know, it's artistic pornography, essentially, is what he alludes to, the director. Milos, you know, signs, so he decides to go ahead and do it since he needs the money. So Milos gets picked up at his house by the driver sent by the director, and they go to an orphanage, and he proceeds to basically have sex with a woman. He sees that there's a little girl watching, I guess it's the daughter watching, as the mother hooks up, and Milos isn't in for that, he's not down for that, but one of the guards behind Milos kind of forces him to finish the scene, and you see the mother, the woman, biting Milos's junk down there, and so it's a very pornographic movie as well, lots of pornographic images. But so shortly after that, Milos decides this isn't for him at all. He wants to get out. He tells the director. So the director sits Milos down and shows him a video of a scene that I guess he produced. Now this is where it totally caught me off guard, one of the more craziest scenes I've ever seen. Basically you see a woman giving birth, and you see this guy basically pull the baby out, and then he basically has sex with the baby, rapes the baby and has sex with it, which is insane. They don't actually, you know, obviously they don't show it, but, you know, you can see the guy's movement and stuff, and that scene, just the idea of that scene just really disgusted me and shocked me. Obviously they don't show it, but it's the idea of it, it's the concept of it that really, and then from there the movie just gets insane. And so after that, Milos sees that and just says, you know, you're crazy, and leaves. But before that, Milos has a drink, and the director apparently drugged him. and you see Milos drive off in the car, and he stops at an intersection at the light, and you see, like, you know, you can go left or right kind of thing, and you see a woman come to his car, and apparently he's drugged. Milos doesn't know that at this point, but, and the lady was the nurse lady who's been in the movie the whole time as well, working for the director, and she comes up to the car, and Milos has got his junk out kind of, and they're hooking up a little bit, and then he wakes up, the very next scene, he wakes up all bloody at his house, and he can't remember anything, so he goes back and tries to find everybody, and he finds like a camera and tapes, and he goes through them, and he's slowly starting to remember them as he's watching some of the scenes, and he gets these flashbacks, and he figures out what happens. And I'm not going to tell everything about it, but it's just insane. There's a scene where, you know, when he was drugged, they bring him back to the place for a scene, and basically some kind of like animal hormone, testosterone kind of thing, kind of like a supercharged Viagra where all you can think about is sex, and you're so enraged. And so they have this lady out there, and basically Milos is having sex with her, and they give Milos a machete, and Milos, while having sex with her, chops her head off. Insane. There's another scene where a woman's teeth are all busted out, and a guy wearing a bag over his head puts his penis in her mouth and proceeds to put his fingers over her nose and basically have sex with her mouth until she can't breathe and, you know, dies. There's also another scene towards the end of the movie where Milos is trying to escape, and he knocks down one of the guys after shooting him, and the guy's still coming at him. He's also the driver, and he's been in other scenes as well, and he knocks off the guy's glasses, and he sees that he only has one eye. So Milos takes the guy, and Milos is naked at this point, takes the guy and puts his dick in the guy's eye socket and proceeds to fuck him to death, which is insane and crazy. Now, I will say that end scene was kind of a twist I saw coming as soon as they entered the room, and even before that they kind of alluded to it. So I knew this whole section. I don't want to give this part away, but this is one of the more pivotal parts of the movie. That part was a little predictable, but still very shocking. And then, you know, I thought that was basically the end of it, and there is another scene at the very end, which is also kind of another twist, which I didn't see coming, which you know, that was surprising, caught me off guard, so props to that. Now, after all this being said, it's obviously a very, you know, exploitation, kind of a shock movie, shock and awe movie, but I will say the cinematography is well done, the acting was well done, the score was amazing. Basically, everything about this movie was extremely well done. It's not your typical shock kind of movie. It had a great script, just everything about it was well done. So it's not just for pure shock's sake at all. Now, I will say though, there's people were saying that the movie was a metaphor for the troubles that Serbia is going through. Now, I find that hard to believe. I think that's a big stretch. I think that's very thinly veiled cover for all the violence and trying to rationalize it, which I don't think that is the real metaphor behind it. But even though it has a lot of crazy scenes, it's very well done. But again, I would really have enjoyed this movie a lot more if that one scene wasn't in it. That's my personal opinion. But I think because of that scene, which is so outlandish, that it's gonna gain notoriety from that scene, and it's gonna gain so much hype that so many people are gonna want to see it, and it's great marketing as well. They said the director said the DVD release isn't gonna be until next year. He's gonna be showing it around to different film festivals. And the hype and buzz is so crazy right now that it's going to be a big seller. There's no doubt about that. And to the director, if you wanted to do the most talked about and controversial scene ever, congratulations, you win. I don't think anybody's going to be able to top baby rape, newborn baby rape, and newborn sex. I mean, that's crazy. I don't think anybody's going to ever be able to top that. You win. But I will say this is the most well done and well shot sick and twisted film I've ever seen. They obviously took a lot of time and effort and put into it, from the score, the cinematography, the acting, the script, everything on point. So it has all the shocking elements, and it's well done. You can't beat that, really. If you're a fan of that genre, you'll be in heaven. If any of you guys have seen this movie, definitely let me know what you think. I want to talk about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was the sickest, craziest movie you've ever seen? Or one of? Did you think it was well done at least? Or did you think it was just because of the nature of it, you just couldn't get into it all and you found it appalling? Let me know down below. I definitely want to hear everybody's thoughts and feedback on this movie if you've seen it, and or if you plan to see it as well. I didn't want to give too much away, but I did want to talk about some of the crazier scenes in this movie. If you're into this kind of movie, the sick and twisted kind of thing, then this is definitely right up your alley. I definitely recommend seeing it if you like really sick and twisted kind of movies. But if you're not into anything graphic, this is just stay far, far away from it. But again, this is my review of a Serbian film. I will say it was very well done, and it is very graphic, and it will be one of the more talked about movies ever, I think, in my opinion. But hope everybody's doing well. Take care.